Xylophoning in the living room next to the kitchen, episode 12. Supplemental listening and exercise. Not even exercise, just listening and ideas, ramblings, musings. Talking about dotted 8th, 16th feel of George Hamilton Green. This is a lot of green emphasis. We're talking about the green exercises. After we get through all 50 exercises of these, we can talk about other things of greens. No, all 50 exercises of greens, we can talk about other things of other players. Maybe of you. I present to you a challenge. You record yourself being silly or not, or you're a serious person, playing some xylophone. I think some people are clicking on these things and watching them, but then you don't go play xylophone. Play xylophone. If you don't play xylophone, who will? I will give you something. I don't know, some mallets, some music, some finger cymbals. I don't know. Post something. I'll send you, then message me your address and I'll send you something just on behalf of the xylophone. Thank you for playing me. That's what the xylophone says. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Don't let me get dusty. Don't make... Okay. Dotted 8th, 16th rhythms. How did George Green play them? I don't know. I've never heard him play. He died well before my parents even met. That might be true, but you can listen to recordings on the internet, or you can buy the 6 CD set on georgehamiltongreen.com. You can go to record stores and use a lot of time asking people if they have 78s and go buy a 78 player. Don't do that. Just go online. Maybe the easiest thing is the youtube.com and search George Hamilton Green. No, you're going to see all these student performances, or maybe even worse, me. Look up the All-Star Trio. George Hamilton Green, xylophone. F. Wheeler Wadsworth, saxophone. Victor Arden, piano. Made lots of recordings. Some of them are good on YouTube. They're all good recordings, but on YouTube people record their phonograph player. And they're like, wow. No, that's actually important, those people doing that. But I just steal them from, they're not copyrighted, these things from 1919 at this point. So I go to YouTube, to MP3, if there's a good clean one, and I do it that way. Otherwise, I ask other people, and sometimes I go on eBay and buy a record from, and play it, and then I enjoy that. But for use, I get an MP3, adjust the pitch so it's not all messed up. Some of them are pretty messed up, off a half step or so. We can talk about that another time. And so here's one, Sensation Rag, recorded in 1918 by the original Dixieland Jazz Band. So now that we have a popular tune played by what was then a popular jazz band called the Jazz Band, and we have a xylophone, saxophone, piano version of it. So this isn't like George Green writing music for conservatory percussionists to practice so that they can play Shostakovich symphonies a little before they were written. No, it's not that. It's popular music in context of American popular music being sold all over the world. So there's just an A strain, and this morning I listened to that, transcribed it. I would encourage that. This way, what am I doing? I'm finding a recording, I'm able to figure out what's happening on the recording. Some people have amazing ears and can just play along or play back. I'm not one of those people. I need to almost punch every note. I'm interested in knowing, like, what's my goal here? Finding out what's George Hamilton Green doing? How's he treating that. Is he? If I buy the sheet music, it's going to say 1 and 2 and roll. But he plays 1. Also, what's immediately I hear that as like a stop time. Ba ba, ba ba. So this is really much more vigorous than the sheet music. We'll say 1 and 2. But that's some. It's exciting. I get to pretend to be like playing along with the greatest guys in my living room. You can do it too. So to transcribe that, I slowed it down like here. And I went one at a time. Okay. Fine. You do enough of it, you get a little quicker. I'm still not that quick at this, but now I know what he's doing. And it's not or that's at least in that period, the All-Star Trio, also Earl Fuller, playing there's a handful of recordings with Earl Fuller's Novelty Orchestra, 1918. Same time, Green's playing quarter note rolls as sextuplets, and then a pickup to the next note. Or great, I found that out. That's not in the 50 lessons. What else? How he plays them? The feel. A little slower. Almost a sextuplet. Not, yeah, in between. But you figure it out, and maybe you don't care. But that's what makes those things so exciting. The xylophone treatment of the melody, where it's syncopated. Right? Those are going to come later in lessons. We've already played some of them. We played yesterday this leaving one voice where stationary and moving the other. So what are we doing? We're finding what was the exercise from yesterday, and something like, oh boy, what key was it even? We were in D. No, here it is. Yeah. So it's this lower neighbor thing, which is all Green is doing on Sensation Rag here. Don't confuse this with Joseph Lamb's piano rag, Sensation Rag, different tune. If somebody's like, oh, I'm going to find the sheet music, gotta make your own, or ask me for it. Make your own. Don't buy people's transcripts. Just kidding. Buy my transcriptions. No, you can have them. I'll give them to you. If you want to play them, I'll give them to you. Right? Lower note. Oh. So this is that jazz music has a lot of passing tones, chromatic passing tones, lower neighbor. And then what's my advice would be, if you have an understanding of the chords, you can alter or invert or change the material based on the exercises we use. That way when we're doing these lessons, it makes sense to apply them to something else. Stylistically, we're dealing with this kind of music because that's what Green's writing towards. Playing like stuff that he was already famous for. This is the mid-1920s, the 50 lessons. 1918 here, 19. Green's recording this with All-Star Trio. He's already known for a style that he's trying to explain to people. It's already, by that point, kind of outdated. But that's not the point. Yeah, it is. A little bit. You should know the history and the context. Marimba and Xylophone History Group. A lot of information there on Facebook. So, what are the chords? Dum, 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 dum. So we have 1, we're in the key of C, C. A very common chord progression, possibly the most common, 1 to 6. And we go chromatically down. So I'm playing C and E together. To A and C sharp. And so what happens in our melody? G. 5 to 1. So let me run down the chords. C, A7, G, C, D7, G. Done. 1, 6, 5, 1, 2, 5, 1. But in this style, we're doing secondary dominant, so flat 7. When we say 2, 5, 1, we don't mean D minor, G7, 1, or D minor with a bunch of junk on it, D7, flat 9, sharp, flat 13, blah, blah, blah. No, we're just restricting this to secondary dominance, so the 5 of something. And if you don't know that stuff, here's a great chance to learn it. 1, C, A7, so that's 5 of 2. Then the melody goes, which is over the 5 chord G. And then C, back to 1, C6, and then D7, oh my goodness, this is going to be such an annoying thing. C, A7, G, C, D7, G, C. C, A7, G7, C, D7, G, C. Let's do it in the time. I'm messing this up a little bit, but the point is you write those chords down as we have been doing in our ragtime exercises. Ragtime, the third part of every lesson, has a tune with some chords, but they're not written in. If we write them in, we can figure that out, so that when we're on a G or a D or whatever chord it is, a C and A, we can see what are the types of embellishment, and we can invert them if we want, and it gives us more understanding of what we're doing. So that's nothing but 1 7 6 5 1 7 6 5 1 7 6 5 1 7 6. If we do that, check that out for a second. What I just did. That's just a circle of fifths progression. 1 6